What is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video to do my review of the Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix live action series for episode 7 and 8. These were the final episodes. I finally got around to watching the final batch of them. So we're going to review them both. So the first episode 7, which was titled The North, well, lots of changes definitely happened around this episode. So, starts off, they get there. Um, well, actually, let me rephrase that before they even get there. They start the episode off with Prince Zuko, and General Iroh, who they one of the soldiers overhears that Zhao wants to arrest him for treason, and this was basically just a trap to for him to leave, which he leaves. And then he's on his boat, and basically there's like the bombs that are in the boats. He gets out of there in time, obviously, as we all know. But that was the plan. He consults General Iroh, Uncle Iroh, to Zuko about it, and he's like, he's not happy about it. He just basically says it was Fire Lord Ozai, or that's what he tells Commander Zhao, is or Admiral Zhao, that he's he basically tells him what he wants to hear, that it was Fire Lord Ozai, because Iroh is smart and knows what's up. So, that's kind of how that all starts and transpires. When Team Avatar makes it to the whole the island, the Northern Water Tribe, they are welcomed by everybody. They end up doing a feast for them and whatnot. The changes really if you watch the original series, you could tell the changes right away. For starters, Paku's whole explanation, because Paku in the original was there to train Aang. Like, that was kind of the original whole thing when he got to the Northern Water Tribe. In this one, it's like, oh no, we got to get ready for battle, because there is an attack, and I had a vision, and they already knew, so now they're getting ready, because they had seen the fleet. So they know that they're going to get attacked. So they're planning on that. Paku basically arranges to Katara to go up against, or not go up against, to meet the healer, where she trains to how to heal. But of course, once she starts healing, she realizes that this was not the case. That because she wants to learn how to fight, and the healer basically says, we're not allowed to do that here in the Northern Water Tribe. So then she confronts Paku, Master Paku, and basically Master Paku's like, it's strictly forbidden here. But it's very, very toned down. And again, this is the whole idea of trying to eliminate, I guess, the the blunt sexism, I guess, that was in the original, even though that was specifically done to show Katara's worth as a warrior. So again, this is where this is kind of lost, I think, in this series, is by them taking these subtle things out. Again, and also in this version, Katara is pretty much already well trained as a waterbender herself, which, again, not that she didn't know how to waterbend in the original, but in this version, it's clear that she's already kind of a master. and doesn't even really need to be trained by Paku. But again, she's mad about this. It's strictly forbidden. Um, so that's kind of where their whole subplot is. Um, so Sokka also in this, he meets Hugh, who basically is like one of the leading guys that's leading the army. As we all know, he was in the original. But he was completely different. His character is completely 360'd in this one. So in the original, he basically antagonizes Sokka. He doesn't believe anything Sokka says about how the Fire Nation has different, like, armor and stuff like that. And he tries to get him out of the battlefield or whatnot. And also in the original, Princess Yue was arranged to be married to him, which is the same in here, but the difference is it's a forced marriage, and Princess Yue can't really get out of it in the original. But in this one, she actually does have enough kahuna to get out of the arranged marriage with Hugh. But the difference is he just doesn't, he accepts it. He's just, he's chill and he's understanding. Again, completely different character. And also he believes everything Sokka says, from the stuff, and also kind of tries to help him on, because he sees that Yue is interested in him. Also in this, Yue actually was in the spirit world with Sokka, Aang, and Katara when they went into the spirit world all together, and that's how she already knows them and knows Sokka, since Sokka kind of helped her when she was the wolf, right? So they already kind of know each other, and Sokka, he recognizes it right away, and Yue pretty much confirms it when she says his phrase. While Aang is in the Avatar state. Aang is in the Avatar state, and he's trying to get into his past life with the past water Avatar. They talk about his, little difference. He can't do what Avatar Kyoshi can do because, he's all drained up from the spirit world. He spent his whole life in the spirit world, which is a very, very different interpretation of how the original Avatar had his character. But that's basically the reason why he can't do what Kyoshi does, and help and, take over his body and, take him out. That was the wisdom he was getting from him, so to no avail. But again, Yue immediately has an interest in Sokka. They do kiss. Also, should be worth mentioning that Princess Yue is also a waterbender in this series, which not saying she wasn't in the original, but the original never showed her doing any waterbending. So she was also a waterbender in this. Though she was technically only a healer, I guess, even though she can do waterbending, because she was able to do it. And a couple things with the food, and then something in the end, which we'll get to it. Yeah, so that's kind of how that all goes around. We also do see, back at the Fire Nation, we also do see Fire Lord Ozai. He is trying to get Azula motivated. She's not doing everything that he wants her to do. So after that day of not being able to do it, the next day, he wants her to pick out another fighter and take him out. But she refuses, and then she basically, shoots fire, and then shoots lightning, and shows her lightning off, and basically tells him, Fire Lord Ozai, that, hey, I would like to go to the Earth Kingdom and, do the thing, take stuff over and shit like that. And I'm assuming Ty Lee and May will be there as well when that all starts. But yeah, so Princess Azula's subplot again is a lot different. She's working with Commander Zhao, as we all know, but also, or Admiral Zhao, whatever. But we but we know that basically that Zula's, has more of a depth compared to her in the original, where, she kind of just decides to go, where in here she just, like, she has to prove herself to go, which I guess is kind of the difference here. So Zhao and Iroh are approaching the Northern Water Tribe. They are getting ready to do what they got to do. And also, I should say that Pakku was challenged by Katara. And while Katara does not win, she shows off her skills as a waterbender. And basically shows that she is capable of fighting just like the guys. And even some of the guy waterbenders are like, this is, you're awesome. You're really strong, and stuff like that. How did you do that? Because she did some moves that they hadn't seen before. And so there was impressiveness to it. And Sokka gave her the pep talk before that too. So that was the thing that they wanted to show. And that, Aang doesn't have to worry, because Aang was also concerned about them being in the fight. And they were like, well, this is our choice to do it. And, that's kind of really how the episode is. That's how that ends for this episode 7. As the Fire Nation starts to arrive on the Water Tribe, Northern Water Tribe. So, yeah. So, now, with that, we are going to get into the review of episode 8, which was titled Legends. So, in this, which is the season finale, we see Aang, Katara, and Sokka, going up against the Fire Navens. They're going, the Fire Nation's attacking. They're breaking through the city. And Katara basically tells Master Pakku, because the people, his people are, like, getting attacked by the Fire Nation. And Katara's like, enough with this custom, we need all the people we can get. And there's all these female healers that are lined up. And so she, takes them to help out and aid, people during the wall part. After this, the chief, he basically, the mother of Princess Yue, tells Sokka, you need to protect her, which, of course he accepts. They go into some, they go where the spirits are, and that will be a significant point. They also show Zuko sneaking in to the Water Tribe. Very, very similar to how it was in the original series, though they don't show the lead up to it. They just kind of show it happening. Iroh warns Zhao not to send forces into the city because it could be catastrophic. And he also warns him about the spirits, because obviously, that's not something you should be doing. He shows him the knife. Um, and the avatars, basically talking to Aang about the plans that he has to protect everybody, and that basically, it's revealed that waterbenders will be powerless if you destroy the moon. Zhao is basically like, I'm not gonna destroy the ocean. I'm just gonna destroy the moon. I'm just gonna take out the waterbenders and would throw everything out of balance. Also, this Momo actually gets crushed and is on the brink of death. Which this is where Princess Yue brings him to the sanctuary, which basically heals Momo. Again, another change because this did not happen in the original, where Momo basically got moon spirit power. Again, a lot of subtle changes here in terms of how they perceived the fight, and on how they approached it. They also used the balloon, the Fire Nation balloon thing. That obviously these were weapons that they got originally. Early on in the season, which also Sokka even brings up that, hey, I was the reason why these things were built, which he never shows why Yue knew about that. But yeah, so they had that technology, and this is how they got to the Moon Spirit Sanctuary, because it's only like one day that they're immortal. Aang and Katara are basically now confronted by Prince Zuko, who wants to capture the Avatar, as we all know. He doesn't care about the destruction and stuff like that. And he then Katara basically says, "You go ahead. I'll fight him off." So then Katara fights Zuko, and should also mention that before this they brought up the whole the master thing. Katara was or Paku ordered the young waterbenders to basically listen to Katara because he called her a master. So obviously he had a very, very sane change of heart, which was really interesting. That they just kind of quickly did that. But yeah, Katara fights off Zuko. Very similar fight to how they did it in the original. They do show the thing at the end where Katara freezes him, but Zuko actually unfreezes himself, which is a big plot hole because that happened like the next day. Like technically, the sun came out, and that's why he was able to get out so easily in the original. It was still nighttime at this point. So the fight rages on. Zhao gets to the sanctuary, and they basically tell him, "Don't do it." I remember Uncle Iroh's like, "I'll release tenfold." The classic dialogue that he said in the original. He says it. And he gets the moon spirit out of his hand because it's in a bag. But because the thing's gonna go into chaos if he doesn't do anything. Just like if you watch the original series, it was, everything will go into chaos, and then basically, he as Aang is like putting it up with airbending, the moon spirit with airbending, Zhao basically stabs it with the knife, which in that position he could have just used firebending, but nonetheless, I guess he had to use the knife. Um, but anyways, so the Moon Spirit is dead, and so now everything goes into chaos. There's the red stuff. Well, the red stuff had already started, but then once the Moon Spirit got killed, then all chaos breaks loose. All the waterbenders lose their waterbending. So the Fire Nation starts to get the upper hand on the waterbenders, because Commander Zhao is obsessed with destroying the race of waterbenders, which he even mentioned that basically, he wanted to be the Fire Lord. He wanted to, he was obsessed with power, and he thought that, I guess, eliminating the waterbenders would make him that way. Apparently, he was that kind of delusional. And then basically, he is basically getting away, and they're trying to fend him off because they're just really pissed. But Aang ends up becoming or merging with the ocean spirit, and so he's not himself anymore. And so he's just raging chaos because the Fire Nation had gotten the upper hand, but now they hadn't got the upper hand because they're getting destroyed by this spirit that's merged with Aang. So that's going on. And then there is this moment with Yue, where Sokka suggests, there's got to be another way to revive the Moon Spirit, which, again, Princess Yue, instantly comes up with the idea of sacrificing herself, which then she uses her ice bending to freeze Sokka's legs so he can't stop her from sacrificing herself. And she sacrifices herself to restore the Moon Spirit, and she becomes the Moon Spirit, essentially. And then that leads to Aang coming back, away from the spirit. Commander Zhao, or Admiral Zhao, he's basically, Zuko confronts him because now Zuko can't get the Avatar because, Iroh basically said that, he's this, he's merged with the spirit. So at this point, he's kind of, trying to get out of the Northern Water Tribe. And then by this point, he runs into Commander Zhao, or Admiral Zhao, and basically, starts attacking him. And then he basically reveals the truth that this was all just a test for Azula. And again, this is a change, but then again, Commander Zhao wasn't in cahoots with Azula at this time, but in the original, but in this, she is. And they basically, use this, or at least that's what he claims. That's what the Fire, he claims to Zuko that he used you to basically better herself, and this was all a test, which, based on what the Fire Lord had said, I don't think that's the case at all, and that was just a lie. But nonetheless, even though not necessarily Fire Lord Ozai, I don't think, believed that, because he obviously was testing still Azula herself. But I think this was more of Azula wanting to use Zuko to get stronger and get into her acceptance with her father, because it seems like that's kind of where this is more of an Azula thing than it is a Fire Lord Ozai thing, because he was more commanding than Zhao was in the original. Where the original, he just promoted Zhao for whatever reason, where in this, he promoted her because of Azula, giving him a good recommendation. So it was a big difference. So Azula used it for herself, not necessarily for Ozai, but this is what Zhao says. And then, he attacks him with the fire bending, doesn't take him out. So then he tries to so then Then Admiral Zhao just tries to take him out with a fire whip, and it doesn't work because Zuko turns it around and just basically throws him off the board, or just throws him down, and he dies, I guess, from that, which again is a really weird way since in the original he was kind of just eaten by the spirit and died that way. Which I think would have been a better approach. I don't know why they changed that, because I mean he was the reason. So the spirit died, so the ocean spirit should have wanted to take him out specifically because of what he did. But the Water Nation got their waterbending back. The Water Tribe got their waterbending back. Zuko, or not Zuko, I'm sorry. Sokka is very, very upset that Princess Yue is gone. He had explained the situation to her father, and father was obviously understanding because she kind of knew, But then they talked about, Paco talked to Katara and basically said that, we could need you to, lead the new water tribe, as they rebuild. And he's like, yeah, but I need to train Aang, who needs a waterbending teacher. And he basically says, well, he couldn't have asked for a better teacher. So again, they made Katara like a waterbending master without actually even being trained by Paku. So I guess the scroll basically trained her to learn better waterbending techniques right away. But I mean, she had that in the original, and she still wasn't necessarily a master. She had the skills to be a master, but she wasn't there yet. It wasn't until she started getting trained by Paku, where she learned more, to become the master that she was. That being said, there is also one glaring thing that they did get rid of, and that is the fact that Paku was not someone who was supposed to be arrangedly married to Gran, Katara's grandmother. That was something that was in the original, which apparently has either been completely ignored or it's not a thing anymore in the live action series, which really, really surprised me, because I was wondering, I'm like, well, Katara's wearing the necklace, so why is it that, the Paku's not noticing it? And apparently it's because they're not related, I guess. Because for anybody who doesn't remember, in the original, the Katara's grandma basically left the Northern Water Tribe while she was pregnant with Katara's mother, and she moved to the Southern Water Tribe because of the way the customs were there, that women couldn't waterbend. And that was the sole reason of why Paku then lifted that rule once he realized that she was the Gran. Katara was related to her. So this is something that they changed, and I'm not a big fan that they changed this, because again, it kind of like how did they become, there's no origins now, and they just kind of just completely just ruined that. Unless they come back later and say that, oh yeah, we were actually supposed to be married. But I feel like they would have mentioned that in this episode, because why wouldn't you? Or even in the previous episode. So yeah, the episode ends with, obviously Aang, Katara, and Sokka basically saying that they got to go back to Amashu and find an earthbending teacher for Aang, while Katara trains Aang, to be a waterbender, because he only knows airbending. Which he had known some waterbending by this point too, so I'm just, they completely ignored that here in the live action series. But at the end of the episode, we see basically Fire Lord Ozai basically saying that I didn't expect Zhao to win, because It was just a distraction for what I really wanted to do, and that was basically to take over Omashu, which Azula did. They show her in armor conquering, uh, you know, Omashu. When they see the Fire Nation soldiers celebrating, they put the flag down on Omashu, Fire Nation control, and we see King Boomy is captured as well. So that's how the episode ends. There was also the thing with Zuko. They show the thing him on the boat with Uncle Iroh, who basically is telling I need rest. And they said, yeah, we got to give it to you. But they also do mention because in this version, his fleet, his original fleet that he had in season 1, they were forced to go with Admiral Zhao. When they were fighting. But when they fought the Water Tribe, the Northern Water Tribe. But in this, they did not go because they changed it where the fleet was basically a fleet that was supposed to be sacrificed when Prince Zuko spoke out of term. So that's why they were, chosen to be Zuko's fleet when he was banished. Which they changed again from the original series. That was never in the original series. Though I actually will say I do kind of like that. I actually do like that. That's one of the fewest changes that I did like in this series. And I know I'm supposed to review the rest of this, but I just say that's one of the fewest changes I did like in this series is the idea that the fleet that was supposed to be destroyed in the suicide mission is the fleet that Zuko is. That's the fleet that is chosen to go with Zuko as the banished prince. That is one of the things because it connects very good. It connects very good. It's like, oh, you spoke out of term, because you didn't want these people to be sacrificed for the Fire Nation. Well, guess what? You're banished, and you're gonna have that fleet with you. So I kind of did like that change. I'm not gonna lie. That was probably that was probably a brilliant change that they did. That's something that I think connects everything. But point being is they don't know where they are, obviously. But it is implied, at least in this series, that obviously they're still looking for them and obviously are still loyal to Prince Zuko. Especially once Uncle Iroh told them what he did for them, and basically that's the reason why they're still around. I am curious if they are in the second season. It's not implied that Zuko will be viewed as a traitor. It seems like in the Fire Lord. The Fire Lord still thinks good of his son for some reason, I guess. Which again is really interesting in itself. But that was, to me, was a really interesting thing that Zuko was like, oh yeah, he'll survive. Or whatever. So I am curious in the second season if he's going to be some type of, because in the second season he was mostly an outcast, So I'm really curious at how that's going to lead into this, since Azula's going to go do her thing. That is how it ends. Very, very interesting to see where this goes. There was a brief thing with Katara and Aang where they, she yelled out to him when he was still the spirit, with the ocean spirit, which was a very subtle thing, which I thought, was more of a caring thing, but I mean, it could be implemented later on for the series. I think a lot of people aren't going to take that into account, but I thought that was a very interesting moment of how they laid that out, that put that innuendo in there at the end. for possible later on things on the series, um, which I don't think anybody pointed out as well, so I will point it out. But yeah, very interesting to see where they go with this, because obviously the way it's being presented is much different than in the original. A lot of key changes, and obviously Azula definitely is going to have more of a course, but I'm really in the second season. I am very interested to see where Toph is in this, because I'm wondering where Toph will be, like if they go to Ba Sing Se, or I don't think Toph would be in, but she wasn't in Ba Sing Se, so I don't know where she's gonna be in all this, on where they put her. Um, since Umashu was conquered as well. Uh, I really hope that they do have the Rumble 6 in this too, though, because I really like that Rumble 6 thing. Um, but we will see what happens here. I am very curious of what they do in the next season. In terms of this season, it was an okay series. Much obviously it was gonna, no matter what, it was gonna beat the original live action movie. No question about that. But I was very curious at how they handled this series, for sure. But anyways, that is about it. Comment, rate if you like this video, my videos. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for all the latest contents. Thank you. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of it. Peace. Also, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the SS Ultimate Goku. Follow the Twitch, the SS Ultimate Goku. Instagram, the SS Ultimate Goku. And I do have a Discord link in the description where we discuss a lot of various topics, including this one about the live-action movie, or live-action TV series. Also, I do have a YouTube membership where there are tiers and perks for that. So if you're interested in that, check it out as we build that all up. So now I'm out. Peace.